Hi everyone and welcome. Our focus here is to ensure that you're getting the most out of working as a team. I'm sure that many of you work in teams within your roles. You may work in a very small team of 2 to 3. You may work in a very large team. I've worked in all manner of sizes of teams from 2 to 3 up to about 25, and they all have their good points and bad points. What are the advantages to teamwork? When it comes to teamwork, everyone can bring a different skill set and experience, and it's really important that it's used to learn from each other. No one person on a team is going to have the same experience, the same skills, the same knowledge, or the same abilities, and we can all learn from each other and build on the positive attributes of others. A team can really support each other on a bad day. We all have them. If you're not feeling up to your full potential on one day, then you may have a team member who can pick up your slack for you. And of course, you'd do the same for them on another day when they're not feeling so great. That's the great thing about working as a team. If you do try to do things alone, things can go wrong and it may not work for everybody. So working as a team is really important, and being able to effectively communicate as a team is probably the most important element of effective teamwork. Sharing those ideas will help to build understanding and create that mutual support required for an idea or a task. If you try to undertake something alone with an idea that you've got without the backing of your team, it can be really difficult. Working as a team effectively also requires you to share your workload. This means that one person is not put upon, and that will increase the team's efficiency. Google undertook a 2-year research project into effective teams, and one of those elements was the notion of clear structure within a task in a team. Clearly then, if we communicate well and it's clear how we support one another to support students, we're demonstrating effective traits of teamwork. Those roles within a team can also vary. Again, it depends on the size of your team. It depends on what the team is working towards. A guy called Belbin has identified these different roles that he thinks are good in any team, and even if you're in a small team, you can still cover all of them because one person may cover more than one aspect of a good team, as Belbin puts it. So there's the resource invigilator, the coordinator, the monitor evaluator, the shaper, the completer finisher, the team worker, the plant, the specialist, and the implementer. I'll leave you to do some further research on what each one of those roles encompasses, but you may find that you actually encompass more than one of those roles yourself, and you may recognise some of the attributes in some of your colleagues for some of the other roles. So think about the role that you may have to play, and the team and the colleagues that you have around you, and how they interact and work together. Are there roles in your team which can simply be you and the classroom teacher, which isn't met? Do you have too many team members who display the same narrow amount of roles? Are there too many shapers in your team, or too many specialists in your team? And do you need a completer finisher to complete your pack? So thinking about how your team works, you may think that you know how you work and what role you play in your team. But what do others think? And this is really interesting because sometimes you think the role that you're playing is one thing and others see you as something completely different. This has certainly happened to me in the past and I find it really interesting. How does your team work together? Do you work in subject specialisms or special needs specialisms by your skills or experience? Lots of people plan their support teams around different arenas. They may have people that work one-to-one with specific students. They may have nobody that works one-to-one and lots of people working with different students so that they don't get used to that one person. It all depends on the school, on the students that you have in the school, and what a student's needs are. Is there anybody doing too much or too little? And how is this rectified? How does your team leader ensure that you're all working together as a unified team? Do you have a lot of opportunities to come together as a team to make sure you're working well together? Regular meetings really do help to see that everyone has a part to play, and it keeps those communication lines open and allows people to air any grievances as soon as they come up. Because what can happen in a busy workplace like a school is that some things can fester in people's minds. And if you don't have those opportunities to come together as a team, then those things can play on someone's mind and become much bigger than they actually are. And is anybody lacking a skill or an understanding that someone else could support them in learning? We went back to saying how people can kind of pick up the slack if you're not doing so well in a certain area. Is there somebody that's really great at something that you could learn from? Or vice versa, are you really good at something and could you help other people build up their skills in that? So teamwork is a very interesting area, but for you as a TA, soon to become an HLTA, creating strong professional working relationships with your teachers and just as importantly your students will be key. My advice, treat students as part of your team, not as something separate to that. If students feel part of their development, they will improve far more quickly as a result.